Okay, let's talk about creating your sales emails. First, here in Hyperlaunch Campaign, you'll see your sales emails right here. And here you'll have a bunch of templates that you can reuse as many times as you want. Now, all of these templates are self-explanatory, and here I describe the purpose of each email. So I won't be talking too much about these templates because it's so easy just to read them and figure out what they are all about. What I want to do today is show you how to craft persuasive emails that not only talks about frustrations, but also taps deep into people's emotions and their desires to succeed. And for that, I'm going to show you a few emails that I wrote for the launch of Hyperlaunch. Let's start with this first one. This is what I call the paradigm shift email. And it starts with a really simple question. How much should I charge for my course? Here's the thing. When you think about these common questions, which this is what you should be writing about in these emails, don't only think about the answer. In this case, I could have said, hey, just charge $200 or $500. That could be a really simple email, just showcasing exactly what they need to do. But in this case, instead of telling people, hey, this is how much you should be charging, I say, look, here's my paradigm shift in epiphany. I realized that selling a $5 product takes just the same amount of time as selling a $1,000 product. Can you see how much more interesting this email turns out to be because I'm not just going straight forward to the answer, but instead giving you a different perspective about that specific topic? So that's what you need to do with these paradigm shift emails. Think about a common question that you get asked about many times and think a different way you approach this. I could have just said, hey, just charge $100 for this. But instead I tell them, look, here's what I think about this topic. Now you do whatever the hell you want with it, right? So I'm not exactly telling them what to do. I'm just showing that it will take the same amount of effort to sell the same information for a different price. So at the end, what I do is, okay, so that's how I think about this. But if you're struggling to, let's say, price your products, start at a lower price and then increase the price as time passes by. So that's what I do right here. Start low and raise the price after you are done with the launch campaign, and then after you get your first few testimonials. And you can use that as an excuse to keep raising the price because now you have proof that your stuff works. And finally, I personally end most of my sales emails with the bonuses that they're going to be getting, like this. It's just a few bullet points with all of the bonuses and the deadline so that they actually get encouraged to buy. And finally, with a call to action. So that's the first type of email I like sending, the paradigm shift. Let's go to the second one. This is where I paint a positive future. And what I do is I usually tell a story of one of my successes. And here, what I do is I tap into human nature, bro. Like I go deep. How? In this case, I decided to talk about pride and about how I made my family proud of me. If you have a family, you can understand how great it feels to hear I'm proud of you from your parents' mouth or from your spouses or your kids, or in my case, from my parents-in-law. So what I do is I take this topic of pride and I think, okay, how can I make my email about that? And then I just remember some of these things that has happened in my life. And in this case, I picked this thing that happened to me in Panama City in 2018. I had 1,000-ish followers, and it was the first time I was getting sales with my ebook. And I started showing my father-in-law the notifications, and I really admire him a lot. And I was showing him like, hey, I just made $20. I just made $10. I just made this or that. And that's when he said to me for the first time, I'm proud of you. And he did that in front of my wife, Brenda. So as you can see, I'm tapping into this sensation of achievement and showing people, hey, you can also get a similar emotion if you follow my instructions. Here, I'm painting the emotion of pride, and on top of that, showing them how I was making these sales as I was in the vacation with my family, which was one of my dreams, making money as I was vacationing. And as always, what I do is just transition to the pitch by stating all of the bonuses that they're going to get and the call to action. Anyhow, let's go to the next email. Here, this is what I call the frustration crusher. So you take one of the frustrations that you found in your two forces and you just start creating emails through that. So here you can see that I took one of the frustrations, which was picking the right price. And I used that one to create this email, the paradigm shift. Then I took this one on figuring out how to create effective launch strategies, and I got this one that eventually turned into the Pride email, right? Then I took this one, setting up the tech for a launch, and it became this one, the Frustration Crusher, which is a big frustration people have. I don't know which software to use, right? Then what I do is, okay, I take this frustration and I ask a question. Don't know how to achieve X, don't know how to crush the frustration, don't know how to reach this goal that you have. Then I empathize with them by telling them, I know this too. Then I tell a story of how I started and I describe all of the hurdles I had to jump. In my case, it was that I couldn't sell my courses because I did not have a Stripe account. So you can find that big frustration, that big, let's say, enemy. In this case, the lack of Stripe was my big enemy. And I had to find a way to beat it. And I did so by getting this app that let me connect the app to PayPal. And I got paid through PayPal, and that's it. So the process is ask a question about the frustration, talk about yourself and the hurdles you had to jump in order to actually fix that specific frustration, and at the end, showcase the specific thing that you did without going into deep waters. Meaning, you're not there to teach. You're not there to show what you did without actually showing how you did it. So in this case, what I did was, I didn't know where to start selling my digital products, so I picked this platform called Gumroad that helped me sell without all of these painful things that I just didn't know how to solve. You see, I'm answering to our frustration, I'm giving you a solution, and on top of that, I'm going to show you how to use that solution or that tool in order to launch your stuff. So when you're writing these frustration crushers, make sure that you are actually solving that frustration either with a bonus or with one of the videos or one of the chapters of your course or ebook. That is how you think about these frustration crusher emails. Anyhow, let's go to the next one. This one. I like calling this one the contrast. And when I say the contrast is contrasting my past with my present. Here, what you take is how crappy your life was before succeeding in that specific field that you actually succeeded, right? Then contrast that with your current lifestyle and how much easier your life is because of that. In this case, I took something that happened to me the same day I wrote this email, by the way, that I had a flat tire and I had to change it up and patch it up. But before, in the past, I didn't actually have the money to buy new tires. So what I did was buy one and rotate them around, which I don't think is legal, okay? Don't do that. Anyhow, I did that because I didn't have the money. But a few weeks ago when I wrote this email, I actually just swiped the credit card and bought all of the 4 new tires because some of them were a little bit damaged. So I just wanted to avoid any kind of accident due to a lack of responsibilities and not buying new stuff. So I did the math and I could buy all of the tires without any kind of big financial strain, which was not possible back when I was broke in 2018. So when I think about the contrast email, what I do is I think about a specific horrible situation that I had and how it contrasts with my current situation. Think about these stories that you had before succeeding and how in similar situations now in the present, you can actually win and succeed and do things that back then you just couldn't. And finally, just transition to the pitch, which is the hardest part, by the way. Knowing how to transition this stuff to the pitch is where the real skill is. And this is something you need to own by yourself. Learn how to find a way to think about a story, find how it relates to your current situation, and finally show a transition to it. The way that I do it is just telling like, okay, if you want to achieve similar success or want to find a similar path or want to go through a similar path than me, then I'm glad to let you know that here's a brand new course you can buy right now from me. Cool? Now let's go to the next email. And this one is what I call the hijacking the news. And it's a very simple concept. You take something that's relevant and current and present in your industry, you talk about that or find a way to slide it into your newsletter, into your email or your marketing campaigns, and use that as a sales pitch for your stuff. So here, what I do is I tell a quick analogy of how launching a product can be compared to baking cakes and how I used AI way before AI was cool. And when I was writing this email, AI was like the talk of the town on Twitter. Anyhow, so I was actually using AI before AI was cool by using Google Translate to get my Spanish text into English and get the English right. Google Translate, people don't think about this, but Google Translate is actually an artificial intelligence. It does the work for you by translating stuff, right? So I was using this way before AI was cool. And the great thing about hijacking the news is that the news are top of mind. So you don't have to do a lot of work. As soon as people see artificial intelligence in the headline or in the tweet or in the promotional post or the story, they'll pay attention because it's there. They're thinking about it. And what you're doing is hijacking the news. So that's the other type of email that I use to persuade. And finally, what I call the edutainment. And this is really straightforward. What I do is I take a frustration, in this case, the uncertainty of launching, and then I give you a big picture process on how I think about creating products or achieving X success in that domain. So what you do is you're showing what, not the how. As you can see, I'm telling people, hey, research your audience to figure out the big pain points. But am I actually showing you how to research the audience in the email? No. I'm just giving you the big picture thinking and the big picture steps so you know more or less what you're getting into. And then at the end, I tell them, here's the exact strategy I use to do this or to research or to actually know like how to create short landing pages and all of that. You see how this works? You find these frustrations, you showcase how to solve them in big picture thinking and big picture steps. And finally, you transition by telling them, hey, if you would like to learn how to do this strategy, how to follow through, how to do it in less time and with a lot less effort, then get my course, get my ebook. And of course, you're going to get all of these freebies or all of these extra stuff if you join before a specific deadline. And that, my friend, is how you use persuasion in order to create specific and powerful and compelling and persuasive emails that get people to click, get people to buy, and get people to read and feel entertained. So go ahead, start creating your emails. You have a bunch of templates here and use the paradigm shift email, use the positive future email, use the frustration crusher, the contrast email, as you can see here, the news hijacking email, and of course, the edutainment. And that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching.